Hey, what's up, everybody? BDL 44 coming at you with another video. All right, so I know everybody's hearing that Utah Jazz want 3 picks for Bogdanovich, Beasley, and Clarkson, I believe it is, um, and they're pricing things back at a level that would otherwise put us in a position where the market could get a little murky again. I don't imagine a freeze would take place because Kevin Durant's holdout had a lot to do with that, but or rather trade demand to be exact, for which he's rescinded. But all in all, I look at the situation and I say, I really do believe that Danny Ainge is just leveraging against the Lakers. That's really all this is. The Lakers are the team that I think is most interested in possibly swapping Russell Westbrook for those contracts. Otherwise, they probably don't have many suitors for those contracts in a bundle, right? Because that's what they're offering, and that's what the news is. Um, Thanks to Ticket TV, go check out his channel over there and see what he's got going on. He's whom I got this information from. So I'm excited about any information that allow me to talk about transactions and things of that nature. But this is important in a sense because I do believe that Danny Ainge is still trying to keep the Lakers in the conversation, reverse psychology style. In other words, he knows we have 2 first-round picks. He's essentially saying the pieces you want are going to cost you 3. Now, what I know is there are more than one way to skin a cat, especially when you have $44 million worth of Russell Westbrook on your um, on your books. What that can do is allow you to attach other things to it, get a third team, a fourth team, fifth team, whatever it takes, and allow you to find the equivalent of that third pick somehow. Then that would make it so that we would have to give up some pieces we do not want to give up, and that tells me they have their eye on a player that they want off our team, and that to me um, is probably bigger than that. Of course, they have pieces that they want all over the league, and they want that type of value for those contracts. But in my mind, it's more about probably acquiring another Laker player that they like. Now, who could that be? In my mind, it's probably Austin Reeves. Now, that's just my guess. I don't know necessarily that that is the case, but judging by the type of player that Austin Reeves is, Danny Ainge should see some of himself in that player. So, I'm just looking at the situation. I'm saying, if I'm Danny, I want that kid. Now, I don't know that he wants that kid. That's just me and my brain putting 2 and 2 together. But I'm telling you, you can't have him, Danny. Nope. That's not happening, dude. Not happening. Now, the reason why I think the Lakers would not walk away from the table with the Utah Jazz is because even though we don't necessarily want their pieces, all of them, we may want a few, but we still need somebody to take that contract, and they know that, and that's why they're doing this. That's exactly why they're doing this. There's no other reason to do this other than to say, okay, Lakers, we know you want somebody to take that damn contract. We also know that you have the leverage of LeBron James signing that extension, so you don't have the clock against you. So what we can do is say, all right, other suitors, does anybody want Clarkson? We know he's out here, that people may want that player. This is the price tag we have for everybody. Hey, it's going to cost you 3 picks for these bad contracts, but guess what? The only team, the only team that would even consider taking that is a team that has $44 million worth of salary to toss away. Now, there are other teams. I'm not going to lie to you. There are other teams. The New York Knicks are definitely a team that I would say they should want to do deal with because they got all the picks in the world and a few bad contracts that they want to swap for those bad contracts. Problem is, they're bad contracts, and they're not going to want to do it. But what you can do is fleece the Knicks for more picks because of those bad contracts. My bad contracts for your bad contracts, give me more picks. So that, if I'm Danny Ainge, is definitely my target, and I'm letting the Lakers know that I can take this salary that you need for the swap for Russell Westbrook, and I could send it elsewhere. So you had better get back in line with us and don't worry about whatever it is you're waiting for, aka Kyrie Irving, because everybody knows that's what we're waiting for. Now, the reality is, we're not going to compromise anything that's going to allow us to get Kyrie Irving. The next thing I expect the Lakers to do is to find a way to leverage another team that has that cap space against the Utah Jazz in response to this situation. Now, that's what I would do. Basically, get back into conversations with a team like, say, San Antonio or Indiana. Those are the only 2 teams that I can think of that would actually do this. maybe even the Detroit Pistons, but I doubt that very seriously. Um, those are the teams that I think have the cap space or the maneuverability to get cap space to take Russell Westbrook. What you do is you put yourself in a position to have more um, to throw back at Danny Ainge in response to this three-pick nonsense. Because at the end of the day, what I really expect to happen is for nothing to happen with the Utah Jazz until the Lakers are certain that they're going to make a move, that they're not going to be able to get a move made with the Brooklyn Nets. I still believe that's what they're ultimately holding out for. But they don't want the Utah Jazz to dry up as a spot for Russell Westbrook to land, because we know Brooklyn doesn't want him. And if he has to land in Brooklyn, the deal may not get done after all. Or even worse, it may cost us a whole lot more to get it done because of it. So we got to keep landing spots available, and they're few and far in between. Danny understands that, and that is the leverage he has against us. So, it is what it is. We gotta understand what our options are, and keep other options available. We look at the Cleveland Cavaliers getting Donovan Mitchell, and I say something like that could very easily open up for the Los Angeles Lakers, and that's why you hold on to your two picks and start the season as is. Danny's trying to expedite the process of getting rid of those bad contracts. So whatever he can do to make it look as if he's a player in the game and make it look as if these contracts are valuable, he's going to do that. And so that makes all the sense in the world to me. I would play it the same way. So I'm telling you, the Utah Jazz are building something very good. I'm telling you. I mean, you can't see it yet, but the assets they're acquiring and the positioning that Danny is putting himself in, he's playing this brilliantly thus far through the summer. And even though I didn't love the moves, how he's, still made it the market, ultimately finding that much for Rudy Gobert, and then turning around finding a fantastic fit for Donovan Mitchell that got them pieces that they liked and got Donovan to a place that gives him a future, I just thought was absolutely phenomenal. He didn't send him to New York to fail, which we all understood. Those who understand basketball know that was a situation he was set up to fail. Cleveland is not that. I could totally see him coming out of the Eastern Conference Finals at some point in time during his 3 years of the contract. So, this is great. Now we can see Utah moving forward, possibly actually getting rid of these 3 contracts for that value or something close to it, or maybe even more, depending on how Danny Ainge continues to play his leverage. So we continue to learn here. We take our tea leaves. We understand there's plenty more to understand. I only see what I can see, and I take it and I put it aside, and I tell you what these various scenarios are that I think could possibly branch from these tea leaves, and that's really what it's all about on this channel. Pretty exciting stuff. We understand that the market is open. Unfortunately, the guy who stalemated the market is still trying to get rid of the stuff. So I think he did the league a solid by taking less for Donovan Mitchell. I think he could have demanded a little more, but ultimately that was good. Kept balance within what it is he was doing. Took a lot early, took a little late. That's kind of how you play that if you're Danny Ainge. Rudy Gobert to Donovan Mitchell, and I think ultimately he's in a good position. Now, what I understand is that Jared Vanderbilt is somebody that the Los Angeles Lakers covet. If for some reason we have to get rid of Austin Reeves in some deal, I think it would be a wonderful thing if the Lakers could somehow acquire that player. Now, I'm not saying I would be willing to get rid of Austin Reeves by any stretch of the imagination, but if for some reason Indiana and San Antonio dry up in terms of cap space, and keep an eye on Jakob Poeltl, because they do have to figure out whether or not they want to trade him or pay him, and the fact they haven't traded him makes me think they may actually pay him. That could take some of that cap space away that we may need to have Russell Westbrook land there. Doesn't mean they would drop necessarily, but it does make those trade possibilities more complicated, and complexities equal walls and no's, which is things we don't want to hear when it's time to trade Russell Westbrook. So we need to keep flexibility, opportunities open as we see them. And right now, we still have those spots open. Now I look at Indiana and I say, I don't anticipate them doing anything with their cap space. I don't anticipate them extending Miles Turner, because I do believe that they want to move forward without that salary. They probably want to bring in some more young players, maybe keep some money open for some of those bigs that they got, um, that they're really excited about. Matherin is also in place now, so down the road, potentially you could see them really being a team that needs that flexibility. Um, but for the time being, that is a legacy player, and if he starts the season hot with them, you never know. Maybe they just decide, let's just grandfather him in, and that type of situation could dry up the Russell Westbrook possibilities potentially. So these are the type of things we keep an eye on. We're watching all of the options that are open for the Los Angeles Lakers to get Russell Westbrook's contract to a spot where it can ultimately be bought out, as to which I would expect him to sign with a team like, I don't know, Miami, or let's see, another team that I can think of he could possibly go to. I'm not really certain right now, but Miami comes to mind because they've been rumored to be interested in possibly bringing him in that situation. So keep an eye open for that. But yeah, man, I'm excited. Like I said, this is an opportunity for the Lakers to just, you know, keep their eye open on the landscape, keep their eye open across the landscape for new opportunities as they arrive. That's what I would say. Yes, we have everything that we have in front of us. Utah, all this, that, and the third. But a lot can change, and a lot can be persuaded as those things change. Even if it doesn't necessarily open up, you can convince somebody that it has. So that's what Rob Pelinka's job is, and I think he's going to do a good job ultimately, because I like some of the subtlety moves that he's making, or should I say things that he's seems to be trying to position himself in doing in terms of leverage. I like the stances he's taking. He's not letting go of his picks, and ultimately he has his eye on the prize. So I like where we're at. I think we can set ourselves up to at least give ourselves a chance at being a really good team, and that is a victory for us this season. And as these young players grow, and as we continue to add assets, hopefully we can get us a first-round pick, as these swaps kind of land in our favor, I think we can be an exciting team, you know what I mean, depending on if we get rid of those picks or not, which I expect us to do. I do expect us to let go of those picks. So it is what it is, man. It is what it is. And also, I tell the Lakers this, of course, in getting rid of those picks, try to swindle another way at that type of value. If you don't get a pick, swing a Cam Reddish, swing a Vanderbilt, swing a guy like that, a Josh Jackson. Even though I think he just signed with somebody, if I'm not mistaken. But you want to put yourself in a position to just kind of get some lottery type talent to throw in here and sprinkle in here with these good vets and, of course, young role players that we're developing. And I think if we can just swindle away, I say swindle, but if we can just find a way to sneak a high-level young player into this roster somehow over the next, I'd say, 2 years, I feel really excited about LeBron James' finale as a Laker, because I do think he'll ultimately try to find a way to play with his kid, or go back to Cleveland. He'll have his options, but I think he's going to end this LA thing with a bang. But I think it's going to take us finding someone special at a very, very small discount. Not to move mountains to get him, just get lucky if possible. I don't know. But that's something I think that will really boost the Lakers to a championship level. I truly believe that. So, yeah, right now we got a puncher's chance at it. If we get Kyrie Irving, I think we got a contender's chance at it. And there are other things we can do to get better too. So, flexibility, open mind, that's what we're going to keep as Laker fans, and continue to try to stay as up on these tea leaves as they come. So, it's pretty much what we got, man. Danny Ainge wants 3 picks for bad contracts. And he's saying that for a very specific reason, and we understand that here. I hope I was able to explain it as best I understood it. My name is BDL44. Thank you all for watching.